Yeah. Ended up just picking the engine up. We took header off this side because it went over the motor mount. And I just put new motor mounts in it while we had it. But all we did was pick the engine up. I didn't unhook the heater hoses, radiator hoses, or nothing. We just picked it up and scooted it forward. I had the transmission sitting on the jack, tranny jack, hitting the converter to support it. We just scooted it forward, popped the converter out, popped the new one in. And of course that big 12-inch converter took a little more to get down out of there than this little 10-inch converter. I did lose some fluid on the ground, but the new converter is in there. The 2700 stall is in. All I gotta do is hook the exhaust back up, bolt that up. I've got to go up and get some washers because on this particular converter, Jegs don't want it pulled out more than, they said 5/16 of an inch. Well, that's about 3/8 of an inch right there. So, with that being said, I'm just gonna, I only like to pull them out no more than about 3/16 to about 1/8 of an inch is about all I like to pull them out. It's about 1/8 of an inch, no more than 3/16, and then you can use grade 8 spacers or washers to take up the space, or like me, I've got some Mazir converter spacers. I'll just go out and see which ones I need for this. Looking at that, about a 3/8 gap, not quite 3/8, so I'll probably put a 1/4 inch spacer in there. That'll let it come out about 1/8 of an inch, disengage out of the pump, so it's not bottomed out. And then this other converter, I'll show you. Oh, grandson's sitting there pissed about something. Probably one of the dogs did something to him. But I put new motor mounts in it. The old ones weren't as bad as I thought they were. He said they were new, but if you look at the holes, they're just roached. That side's not real bad, but that one is super elongated, as you can see. So I just put 2 new ones in it. I ain't screwing with it. There's a box. They're just Power Torque O'Reilly's brand. 2 mounts was $9. So like I said, we just picked the motor up by the motor plate, took the cap off so I don't crack the cap, because the distributor is pretty tight to the firewall. Pulled the plugs and plug wires out of the side and the header off because it's like real close to the motor mount, so it wouldn't have let it come forward. Where this header, you got plenty of room. We just let the radiator hoses and the heater hoses just kind of stretch out, and that was it. Slid it forward just enough to about 8 inches to get the converter down out of there. So now all that's left to do is easy shit. And then here's the converter that was in it right here. You know, I've always wondered when I seen this, how the paint's off of it. You know, he's arguing in there, throwing a fit about wanting something to eat. He don't know what he wants. But see how the paint, like that converter had been hot before I got it. Not to mention, look at that. In there. Out here is fine, but in there it's grooved up pretty good. And it was like that when I got it. But it's an O'Reilly's converter. It's getting ready to go back anyway. I'm going to go get my $200 back. I paid as much for that as I did for that Jeg stall. There's the front drive shaft for it laying there. But I'm going to go in and wash up. Change my t-shirt because I don't want to get in the boys' truck all dirty. And then we'll run that converter up. I'm going to go up and return it, because it's got a lifetime warranty on it. Like I said, that's $200. That'll pay for this converter. And then when we get back, I can button all this shit up. But this should get it to quit with the converter being engaged while it's in gear at an idle. And it quit shuddering and shaking. Last time I run a big cam, not this cam, but a big cam, Actually, it was one of them. It was that Big Mother Thumper that Comp makes, and people can talk shit on them all they want. Those cams, they will make some horsepower. You know, they do have a short lobe separation, a real short intake center line. But if you want a particular sound and you want a little bit of oompa out of it, they do work. That's what I had in the S10 and the old iron-headed motor that was in it before he turboed it. That 413 that was in it, which was a 60/402, it's like a 12-to-1 motor. It had a Big Mother Thumper roller in it. And I had a stock converter in it for like 2 or 3 weeks. And that thing would shake, and you put it in gear and like barely touch the gas with it idling, the whole damn truck would shake, and then it would actually die at a stoplight if you tried to hold it. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean up. I just wanted to share this with everybody real quick. We got the converter swapped in it. Said it was easier just to pick the engine up, move it forward. Being as I was replacing the engine mounts anyway, I just slid them out the bottom, slid the new ones up in there, bolted them back in, put the bolts back in. So everything's bolted back up except for the converter to the flex plate. I just got to do that, and then put the nuts on the motor mount bolts, put the carburetor back on it, the header and all that shit. All simple shit. I can do all that in about 30 minutes. So, but big thanks to my youngest boy for coming out here and helping me, because we were prepared to pull the transmission and transfer case all together. And I've got a it's actually a motorcycle jack. It's not even transmission jack. Motorcycle jack that I made a jig for that goes on and bolts to the bottom of the bell housing down there where your dust cover goes, and then it bolts onto the transfer case, and then that piece bolts to the motorcycle, so you can literally hold the whole transmission without it going anywhere, and you can just lift it up and down. And we were going to do it that way, but then I thought, okay, I got to pull the dipstick. It's going to belch fluid everywhere. I got to hook the cooling lines. It's going to leak fluid everywhere. So I'll just deal with the converter when I pull it off. A little fluid, about a coffee cup's worth of fluid leaked out. And it was much easier, again, replacing the engine mounts as well, to just pick the engine up, scoot it forward about 8 inches. So there you go. It's done. It's in. So as soon as we get it cleaned up, we'll fire it up and we'll see if this cures my lurching problem at an idle, which it should. And then the next thing is put the new steering box and drop arm on it, which is sitting in the house for it. I've got it. And then take it up and get the front end alignment done on it, because it's all fucked up on the toe and everything. One wheel's towed in like 1.5 inches, the other one's straight. It's all messed up. So we'll put it on the trailer, take it up, get the alignment done, and then we'll be able to drive this damn thing. So until the next one, everybody, stay safe. God bless. Later.